Hi, everyone. Oh no. Thought I'd lost the presentation then.
Oh, that would have been good.
We got anyone else? Is everyone in?
That's everyone in now, yeah.
It's everyone in.
So I'll keep an eye on. Oh, here's another one. I'll keep an eye on this, and I will let people in as we go along.
Okay. Okay, right. Do you want me to kick off, or did you want to say anything before I start?
Let me just one more person coming in.
What's the time? Oh, it's after.
We can maybe wait another little minute and then we'll let everyone in. Hi everyone. It says I'm Paula. I'm not Paula, for those of you who know Paula is. Paula can't make it today. So Justine and I'm Vicky, by the way, are running this for you today.
Oh, my chair is really squeaky, so I will apologise in advance if you just can hear squeaking going on.
Cool, right. Would you want to kick off then?
Yes, I will do. That's fine. So before I share the screen with me, I just wanted to really introduce myself. So I'm Justine. I'm a social media manager and trainer, which I've been doing for about 8 years now. So we put together like a presentation about social media marketing and how it can help your business, whether you're just getting started out as a VA or things have become a little bit stagnant on social media, and you just kind of want to help to grow your business on social media. So I'll be covering a few things, but what me and Vicky have said is I'm going to try and leave some time at the end. So if anyone has any questions that they want to ask at the end, that would be great. And yeah, so hopefully, as I said, it'll take about half an hour, 40 minutes, and then that'll leave plenty of time for some questions at the end. So if all goes well, let me just share my screen. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. Right, okay. So I've just made some notes as well. So you'll just have to forgive me if I look down at my notepads. I'm just making sure that I want that I cover everything in the session. So I've already introduced myself. Vicky, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, so I'm Vicky. I am also a social media manager, a launch strategist, and I do content creation for brands as well. So I've been doing this for about 5 years now, I would say. I used to be a dance teacher, and my husband is in the RAF, so we were moving around all the time, and it didn't suit. And I had spent a lot of time building up my business on social media, and so I sort of fell into the swing of doing it for other people, I guess. But yeah, that's me.
Thank you. Right, okay, let's get started, shall we? So social media marketing. So what I will cover in today's training, also Vicky will come in as well, in between maybe and at the end as well. So what we wanted to make sure that we covered is a social media strategy, why it's important to have a social media strategy. If I would have done a social media strategy when I very first started, things would be completely different now. I just kind of went in the whole hog, didn't really know what I was doing or what I would be posting about or what platforms I wanted to be on. So that's really one of the important things that I wanted to cover is a social media strategy. And again, what platforms are right for you. So many different platforms out there at the moment. It's really hard to find out which ones are going to work best for you. So we'll go through that. I'll also go through the importance of scheduling. Any tools to help you with social media as well, so like design tools, video editing tools and planning. Then we'll move on to consistency. That's one thing that I kind of, bang on about is to be consistent on social media. And if you are consistent on social media, you'll find that you'll start to get more engagement, you'll start to get more followers and things like that, just if you're consistent. So I'll go into that in a lot more detail as well. And then at the end, again, there'll be a chance for you to ask myself or Vicky any questions about anything on social media. It doesn't have to be what we've covered today. And then right at the end, I will speak about a little bonus offer that we can give to you. So yeah, that is the main elements of today's session. So as I said in the beginning, so the social media, having a strategy is something that you need to really think about before you start posting on social media. It's something that is really going to help you grow on social media. It's going to save time and stress and everything. So with a social media strategy, the kind of things that you need to think about is the kind of things you need to include in your social media strategy. The most important thing is to think about what the goals of your social media is. So what exactly is it that you want to get from your social media? So what are you aiming for? Because if you don't have goals in place, that's when you start to post sporadically. You don't really know what it is that you want to post or how you are going to post. But if you have some goals in mind, you know exactly how to get there. So a social media goal is something that you want to achieve from your marketing activity, and you can separate them out into short-term goals and long-term goals. So a short-term goal is something, for an example, something that you want something to do straight away. So once you put out a social media post, what do you want that person to do? Is it that you want them to sign up to your newsletter? Is it you want them to download a freebie or an offer that you're giving away? That is something that is short-term. A long-term goal is something that you want to achieve over a few months or a few years, something like followers. That is a goal that you can try and aim for, how many followers you want to get. Maybe the goal of your social media is to increase your brand awareness. Another potential goal, long-term goal, is to get more visitors to your website. Okay, so it can be split up into two lots of goals. One is your short-term goals, and the next one is your long-term goals. So that's the one you need to think about. So the benefits of setting goals is they help you to streamline the process and manage your time much better. But the most important thing is what I kind of got to realise is that you then work out what is working for you and what's not working for you. So if you don't set your initial goal in the first place and you start posting on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, you need to test. You need to test to make sure that what it is that you're doing is working for you. Because if it isn't, what you're putting out is not reaching your particular goal, you don't know whether it's working or not. So you need to make sure that you test it. And the most important thing is not to overcomplicate your goals either. So don't make them too complicated that you know that you're never going to achieve them. So most people work by the SMART goals. Have you heard of the SMART goals? So we'll go through them. So basically the SMART goals stands for specific, measurable, attainable or achievable, relevant and timely. Okay, so specific is you need to be very specific on what it is that you want to achieve. So whereas as before when I mentioned, okay, one of your goals could be I want more followers, be more specific with that. So it could be, okay, so in the next 2 months I want to make sure that I get 100 followers on my Facebook page, or I want to make 100 connections on my LinkedIn. Don't just do it so you sound right, okay, I want more followers. That's not specific enough. So measurable, so you want to make sure that the goal that you are setting, you can actually measure it. For example, if one of your goals is to increase your brand awareness, then you want to make sure that you take a look at your analytics and insights and just make sure that your reach is high. Okay, so that's one way to measure your brand awareness, is that your posts and your content that you're putting out there is reaching a lot of people. So attainable or achievable. So again, you need to set goals that you know that you can get and you can achieve. For example, if I was to put out a post linking to one of my freebies, I could say, okay, I want to make sure that from this singular post, I want to get 3 sign-ups to that freebie. Okay, and I know that's quite achievable, you know, and you make those goals depending on how many followers you've got, and just work your way back from that. And T stands for timely, so you need to be realistic with your time. Again, going back to the followers example, something that's really not going to be achievable is if I say, okay, I want 10,000 followers in 2 days. You know, that time frame is really not realistic, and if I don't reach that goal, then I would think to myself, okay, well, I'm failed, and then I just kind of move on to something else. So make sure when you set your goals, you know that you can achieve them in a specific amount of time, and it's all based around you and what you want to achieve from that. Okay, so they're the goals, and I said the types of goals you can have is you increase followers, visits to websites, a higher engagement rate, and increase your brand awareness. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with Business Suite, which is like a scheduling tool that you can use. It's Meta Business Suite. It's a scheduling tool that you can use, but when you look into Business Suite, you can set your own goals within Business Suite, and it'll automatically tell you whether you've reached that specific goal. And if you have, then maybe you can move that little goalpost along a bit and then go on to achieve your next goal. So that's quite a good way of keeping you on track. And of course, you can always write down your goals as well, and then go back to them every week or every month, whatever suits you best. Okay, so that is goals. Any questions on goals, setting your goals at all? Okay. So the next one within your strategy is you need to think about your branding. And when I say branding, it doesn't necessarily mean just focusing on your logo or the colours of your brand or the fonts that you want to use. I mean kind of like your personal brand as well, which is really important, especially when you're creating posts on social media, especially LinkedIn, Facebook and Instagram. You want to make sure that you have your brand, your personal brand. So the kind of things you need to think about is that how do you want to come across on social media? Are you going to be very authoritative? Are you going to be someone that you want to come across as very friendly, approachable? Because it's not just about branding your company, it's about branding yourself, because I think we all know that people buy from people. And when you put yourself out there on social media, your brand and how you're going to come across is how people are going to be attracted to you. Okay. But the thing that you also need to remember is that your branding needs to come across exactly the same on all your social media platforms. So again, if you want to use your logo, that's absolutely fine, or a picture of yourself. Your headline, your strap line as well, make sure that is consistent across all the social media platforms as well. And again, choosing colours that are going to attract people, make sure that your fonts are consistent and everything like that. So it's all about building not just your business brand, but your personal brand as well. Okay, research again is something that I didn't really think about when I started out. I just kind of just delved right in without even doing any research with regards to my competitors. So one thing I would urge you to do is just have a look at a few of the other virtual assistants out there that are kind of doing the same thing as you, and just take a look and see what they're doing on social media. Just have a look at their personal branding, have a look at the type of things that they're posting, have a look to see the kind of posts they are doing and which posts are getting the best engagement, which posts are getting the most shares, and obviously that, you know, you don't want to copy everything that they're doing, but just make sure you just kind of have in the back of your mind, okay, this is what they're doing, this is what works well for them, and think about why they're not doing something in particular. Are they not doing it because it's not worked for them? So just have a little bit of a research as to what someone else in your industry is doing, other VAs, and again, yeah, see kind of what is working for them and what is not working for them. So moving on to content, which is going to pretty much form the basis of all of your social media. Again, this is something that you need to think about carefully and think about what it is that you are going to be posting on social media. So the first thing that I would start with is think about content pillars. So I'm not sure if you've heard of content pillars before. So these are not the services that you offer. These are topics that you could potentially talk about around your services, okay? So I would suggest picking between three to five content pillars that you can talk about your services. The ones that I've listed here are, you could talk about time management apps. You can talk about writing and note-taking. You could talk about tips and tricks to help your customers. If you're a social media VA, you could talk about how to get sales on using social media, or you can talk about new features of social media. But just remember, when you start creating your content, the content isn't for you, it's about your ideal audience, which is something else that we kind of need to go into a little bit further, is that who is your ideal audience? So when you're writing your content, when you're creating your content, it needs to speak to your ideal audience, because your brand and your messaging and your content needs to kind of all link together. If you're putting out content that doesn't resonate with your audience or who you're trying to attract, then you're not going to get any engagement, you're not going to get any followers, you're not going to get any shares, because the message that you're putting out there is not relevant to your audience. So yeah, so content pillars, you can also split them content pillars further and say, okay, so if I want to talk about, you know, simple tips and tricks that my clients can use, maybe split that further into promotional content, educational content, entertaining content, content that is engaging, or content that inspires people. Because the ultimate goal of social media, if you want to get seen in people's newsfeed, is engagement. So the more engagement that you get on your posts, the more likely other posts are going to get seen in people's newsfeed. Because basically the algorithm, social media algorithm will think, okay, so there's a lot of people interacting with this post and this page and this account. So what I'm going to do is then push their posts out further afield, so more people are seeing them. So that is the kind of ultimate goal of a social media plan, is to get more engagement. And then following on from the content is, again, your engagement strategy. So what I always say to people is, don't just post and ghost. Don't just post on social media and just leave the platform altogether. It's all about building those relationships up with potential clients and customers. So what you need to think about is have an engagement strategy in place. So if you can, every day, just go onto your platforms that you want to be on, engage with other people maybe in your industry. If people have written comments on your Facebook posts or your Instagram posts, make sure that you engage back with them. So ask questions and just really get a conversation going on your social media posts as well, because basically that is what social media is all about, is being social. It's not all about selling to your audience. It's about building a community. And that's one of the things that, you know, these social media platforms want you to do, is they just want to encourage everyone to stay on that platform as long as possible. And the way to do that is just have conversations with people and engage with people. So the next point that I just want to move on to is hashtags. Now, hashtags are kind of, you know, many of us don't like them. You know, I'll openly admit that they're just, sometimes they can be a real struggle to figure out what hashtags that you use, you know, for your social media. So again, I would just do a little bit of research. And when it comes to hashtags, you don't want to put the same hashtags on all of your posts, okay? You just, again, want to pick, maybe create some bundles of hashtags that you want to use. So a bundle of hashtags could be on the particular service, the VA service that you offer, so social media VA, a bookkeeping VA. Another bundle of hashtags would be, what kind of hashtags would your ideal client be using as well? So be very specific on that. And then maybe if you want to work locally with people, you could include like your local area as a hashtag. But also other hashtags need to be related to your content as well. So again, if your content is on time management apps, then again, you need to include that hashtag time management app. So it's just having your social media strategy isn't going to be all based on hashtags, and it's not the most important thing to focus on. So please don't worry too much about getting too bogged down with, you know, the hashtag strategy and things like that. It's just something then to be aware of, you know, and it's a way of helping get those posts reach more people. So has anyone, before I move on to the platforms, has anyone got any questions on strategy at all? Okay, so we will move on to platforms. So as I said, social media platforms, there's so many out there at the moment, so many to choose from. You've got your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and my tip to you, my advice to you is, please don't try and go onto every single social media platform out there, because if you do, you'll end up completely wearing yourself out. Again, you know, you don't have that time. None of us have that time to just, you know, spend all our hours, all our days on posting on different social media platforms, especially if we haven't got a team. If it's just us, that's something that we can't physically do. So when it comes to platforms, I would research each one and just work out which one is going to be best for you. And this is going to be down to a few things. The first thing you need to think about is, where is your audience going to be? Okay, are they going to be hanging out on Facebook? Are they going to be hanging out in Facebook groups? Is your audience going to be on LinkedIn? LinkedIn is great for business to business. So I do recommend being on LinkedIn. So I would say that's where you kind of need to focus your efforts, is LinkedIn. And again, have a look at Instagram. Do you think that your ideal client is going to be on Instagram? Is that where they are hanging out? If they're not, just don't worry about it. Don't worry yourself about trying to learn all the different features and everything of each individual platform. Just take a look at the one where your ideal audience or your ideal customer is going to be. The next thing you need to think about is whether you enjoy that platform. I know a lot of people don't like Instagram anymore because it's so heavily focused on reels and producing video content. A lot of people are saying, I don't know how to do reels. I'm not really comfortable with showing my face. I really don't know what to post on there. You know, you've got stories on Instagram as well. So it's one of those platforms which is really fast paced, and Instagram have most recently come out and said the way to really grow on Instagram is to do reels and videos and stories. So if you're really uncomfortable with doing things like that, then stay away from Instagram. Facebook, again, Facebook is what I like about Facebook is the Facebook groups. Again, it's all about building a community, and you can join some really good Facebook groups. And no matter what Facebook group I'm in, they're always asking for VAs. Okay, every business owner is so busy now that I do think that they are on the lookout for VAs, and that's where I kind of see a lot of posts in Facebook groups are people just saying, you know, can you recommend a VA? Now, when you go into these Facebook groups, don't recommend going in straight away and start selling to people, you know, hi, I'm a VA, this is what I can do. The best way of doing it is just picking a couple of groups out there and just going in and offer advice. You know, if people are asking advice on a particular thing that you know about, for example, if you're really good on Trello, and someone's saying, oh, you know, I've got this issue with Trello, I don't know how to do this, you can just go in and say, well, actually, I know how to use Trello, this is what you need to do. 9 times out of 10, that particular person will visit your profile. Okay, so they'll have a look at your profile and say, okay, this person's a VA, maybe she's someone that I want to connect with. And so that's how you kind of make those business connections. So that's Facebook. Again, LinkedIn, as I said, brilliant for business to business. If you really want to connect with business owners, and that is where your ideal audience is, then again, LinkedIn is a great place to just kind of hang out, and it's really good for networking and making those connections. So yeah, so they're just the 3 that I've gone through. As I said, there are other platforms out there that you may potentially want to use, Twitter, Pinterest. Pinterest is a really good one at the moment because they kind of promote positivity, so social media positivity, and it's really good for getting traffic back to your website. So just take a look at all the platforms, see where you feel comfortable with. Obviously, ultimately, you want to be hanging out where your ideal audience are, but just kind of take a look and see which ones you enjoy being on. Okay, any questions on platforms before I move on? Just conscious of time. Okay.
Someone's asked what groups are best. Do you have any groups, Facebook groups, that you particularly recommend joining?
Yeah, I can send that later on. That's absolutely fine. So you want to it depends on who your ideal client is. You've got groups out there who are like women in business, or there's another one called Mummy's Got Clients. So if your ideal client is a mum, then obviously it just really depends on who your client is. But there is a lot of groups out there. But what I can do is, if I create a list and then send them over, I'm happy to do that. And yeah, so social media is a powerful tool. Figure out which platform works for you and for your business. Master that one and not all of them. So again, I would just pick 1 or 2 and become really good at them. If you really enjoy them and you find them effortless, then maybe move on to the next one. But just don't try and figure them out all at once. Okay. So, excuse me, I'm just going to take a drink. So scheduling is something that I 100% recommend. And it's going to save you so much time. Because what you'll find is when you're first starting out in business, you've got all the time in the world. And when you've got all that time in the world, that is when you go onto social media and you post multiple times a day, and you're replying to comments, you're putting stories up, you're doing this and doing that. Then you start to get busy. And when you start to get busy, that's when you kind of lose your momentum on Facebook, on social media. And when you lose that momentum, you then stop posting. And then before you know it, you've gone a week, 2 weeks, and you think, oh my God, I haven't posted anything at all because you've become too busy. And this is where scheduling really, really helps. So there are tools out there that can help you with your scheduling. The free tool that you probably all know about is the Meta Business Suite. And you can schedule on Facebook and Instagram using Business Suite. And you can also schedule posts and stories as well. Okay. So it's come a long way since it first started, but it's really kind of come into its own, and it's offering more features. There's another feature on Business Suite where you can test out your posts as well. For example, say you want to create a post and you've got potentially 2 different images that you want to use to accompany that post. You can do a test. You can put a post out, one post with one image and another post with another image, exactly the same text, exactly the same headline. And then what the Business Suite will do is recognise which of those images are getting the most reach and engagement, and then it will push that post out further to you. So that's one good thing about Meta Business Suite. Another good thing is that it will give you optimal times to post as well. So when you schedule your post, it'll also say, click a button to click on optimize times. It'll say, right, okay, so most of your audience is going to be online Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So then you aim to create and schedule your posts to go out that specific time. One thing you'll find about social media is that, it is open 24/7. It's just not a 9 to 5 thing. Each audience will be different. For example, if you're someone who's targeting mums, then most likely they're going to be on a bit later during the day when they're not so busy, not on the school run and things like that. So just bear in mind when you think your ideal audience is going to be online. So that's Meta Business Suite. Before I move on to third-party platforms, another thing that I always look at when it comes to social media is just take a look at your insights and your analytics. And you can also kind of work out for yourself when people are online the most. And as I said, aim to schedule your posts for then. But what you can also do is just test it yourself as well, because what you might also find is that when less people are online, there's obviously going to be less competition. So maybe you could try post when there's not so much competition, and maybe you'll find that your post is reaching more people or getting more engagement at a time that hasn't been suggested to you. But what I just recommend is everything that you do, just test it out. Also test how many times you'll post in a week. For example, you could say, right, my first goal is going to be, when I'm starting out, I'm just going to put out 3 posts a week. Okay. And then I will test that out for a few weeks and see how I get on. If I'm not getting the kind of results that I wanted from that or what I expected, I will then say, okay, I will then try and post every day and see if that makes a difference. And you just need to adjust it. And you will have to adjust it every few months anyway. If you find that, your strategy isn't working, that's when you kind of need to step back and just, okay, this is not working. Why is it not working? Am I posting too much? Am I not posting enough? Am I posting the right kind of things? So yeah, that's another thing you need to think about. So third-party platforms that I've used, they're pretty much the same. They've all got their pros and cons. There's going to be some that you need to pay for. Most of them have like a free trial, or most of them have like where you can get it for free, but you're only allowed to do a certain amount of posts at a certain amount of time. So the ones that I like to use are Later. Buffer, and Sprout Social. There are other ones out there, so you may need to kind of just do your research again, find the one that that's right for you and you feel comfortable with. As I said, some of them are more expensive than others, but again, it's all down to you and what you prefer. So, any questions on scheduling at all? Is there any other? Okay, right, so that's scheduling. Yeah, so again, this is a pretty good point. Just because social media is always on, it doesn't mean you have to be, because you'll get, when you start posting on social media consistently, you'll find that when you're engaging with people, it will seem that you're on social media 24/7. I think scheduling your posts kind of takes that away a bit, so it gives you more time to obviously run your own business, and just kind of let it do it's on its own. So yeah, just because it's always on doesn't mean that you have to be as well. So invaluable tools that I kind of like to use, which has really helped me, is my favorite one. And, I think it's one of those apps that nothing else really compares to it. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, is Canva. So Canva is absolutely brilliant for pretty much designing anything that you want to design. You can design stories, you can design posts, you can design infographics, you can create videos, you can create quizzes, you can create even like word search. It really is the one tool that does everything. And when it comes to posting on social media, you do want to stand out because the competition is so high at the moment. Everyone is now on social media, all businesses are on social media, so it's kind of working out how it is that you stand out from your competitors. Is it that you do like these funny little quizzes or some infographics or something that's just a little bit different to just like a normal image and a post? So I definitely recommend Canva, and if you can, I would get the paid version as well. I think it's about £10 a month. But when you get the paid version, you can upload your fonts, you can create your brand template. So when you create your post, your branding is automatically there. You don't have to fudge about and say, right, okay, this is my font, I need to put that font on, this is my color, this is my logo. It's all done for you. So yeah, and also you get access to a lot of stock images as well, so you don't have to pay additionally for them if you're on the pro version. I just highly recommend it if you can. As I said before, videos, short form videos, such as reels and stories, are doing really well on social media at the moment, particularly Instagram and Facebook. And those social media platforms are pushing those out there to people. So one of the best video editing tools I've used is InShot. You can speed videos up, you can add animations, you can add text to your video. You can add music and everything like that. So I definitely recommend InShot if you want to try some video editing. And then stock images as well. As I said, Canva, if you have the paid version, they do some really good stock images. I'll try to stay away from posting too many stock images if you can. And maybe have some of yourself or of your workspace or your local area. So try, if you can, to stay away from stock images. But Canva is a good one, and there is Pixabay and Pexels where you can get some free stock images. And then you've got places like Shutterstock where you can pay for some good ones as well. So they're invaluable tools. And also what I should have put on there is like scheduling tools as well. But has anyone got any questions on tools at all? Obviously you can ask me at the end, that's absolutely fine. So I just want to move on to being consistent. So as I said in the beginning, consistency is something that's going to really help to grow your business on social media. So when I say the word consistency, I don't mean that being consistent in posting every single day. You will find what works for you. As I said before, your consistency may be that you're posting 3 times a week, every week. Your consistency could be actually all you want to do is post reels. Your consistency could be all you want to do is go live. So you find a way that you feel comfortable in what you're doing, because if you feel comfortable in posting on social media, it'll become a lot more easier, and it will allow you to be more consistent. Again, you also need to be consistent with your voice. How are you coming across when you're on social media? So if you are doing videos or lives, or even in what the text that you're putting out there on your social media posts, how are people reading that? And you need to be consistent with how you are coming across on social media. Again, do you want to come across really friendly? Do you want to come across as someone who's very bold and in your face, or someone who's very authoritative? It's obviously down to you and your personal brand. And again, as I mentioned before, consistency with content. So think back to your content pillars and what your content pillars are. Then you want to stick to those content pillars and not go off on a tangent, okay? Because people will then think, well, the messaging is not right. I'm not sure what this person is offering, because one minute she's talking about this, the next minute she's talking about that. I'm not really understanding what it is, what I can get from this person. So, and also again, with your content, if you do enjoy making videos and doing short form videos like reels, be consistent with them. It's all about working out what you want to do and what feels comfortable for you. I just think if you're going to use social media every now and again, if you're just going to kind of post once a month, it's not really going to work for you. If you're going to post a reel, if you're going to post reels 3 times a day, then leave it a week, then post 1 reel. Again, that's not really going to help you to grow on there. You need to have some consistency in place. And then the last thing to come on to is aesthetics. So again, think about your colours, your logo, your fonts. You need to choose, if you haven't got your branding in place at the moment, so you just need to think about something that is going to grab people's attention. What do your colours convey? You need to choose a font that's is easy for people to read, and also the colours as well. And that needs to be consistent across the board. Whether you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, you're going to be using those colours, those logos. So because you just want people to recognise when they see that post pop up, they don't even need to look at what you're saying. They can just see the colours, the font, the logo, and they know that it's come from you. Okay, so it's all about being consistent. So consistent in posting. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's just basically gone over what I've said. So be consistent in your brand, the tone of voice, the aesthetics of your profile, even how often you post. Showing up consistency is the only way to build your brand and your audience. Okay, so digital content planning. So this really, how you plan your content is down to you. I use both a digital planner and a paper. I've got my paper planner that I use here to plan out all my social media posts, but I've also got a digital planner that I use as well. And I think when you plan things out, it's so much easier. The workflow is so much easier. I mean, you probably all know this already. So it's all about saving time, boosting productivity, extending your audience reach, and scale your marketing, which is all what you want to get from social media. So I just would recommend that when you do start planning out, whether it be, digital or again, using a paper format, it's really going to help. It's really going to help you to save time and really get that kind of workflow going, you know, and it's going to prevent overwhelm. And I think it's just something really good to refer back to. I'm conscious of time, so 10 minutes. So yeah, that's everything kind of in a in a nutshell. I probably could go on talking all day about it, but I am conscious of time. So has anyone got any questions at all that they want to ask about anything on social media? It doesn't have to be what I've covered, or if Vicky, if you've got anything that you want to ask at all.
No, so I think you covered everything there. That was really, really super. I just want to say to everyone, just don't be scared about social media. Like, you can get your strategy and your plan and try them, but if something doesn't work, don't be afraid to just try something new. It's the thing with the algorithm and things is they're always changing. So don't get bedded down in your strategies because you are going to have to amend it as things go and change. But yeah, just try and have fun, I think is the best thing to do.
That is, and I think just people are so scared about what they post on social media, about if they offend someone, or if a competitor is going to see it and think, oh, you know, why is she posting about this? Why is she doing that? And I think people really get put off by social media because they're so scared of, you know, saying something wrong. But yeah, like you said, like you've just kind of got to enjoy it and embrace all the new features. You can kind of make it as fun as you want it, really.
Yeah, I mean, even things with, if you were going to do Instagram, but you're like, oh my God, I hate reels, I don't want to go on the camera, you can create graphic type ones. Like, again, Canva is really, really good, where you can, you can animate the text. So you could do like a checklist of, I don't know, 10 things that you do in your to-do list, or, you know, there's ways that you can make all the different features of social media work for you, even if it's something that you don't necessarily want to have your face in the middle and doing some sort of crazy dance. You know, you can make things work in different ways for what you do.
Yeah, I agree. I think people do get scared about, they feel that they have to show themselves on camera to get any response, but I've just seen some really great reels. I mean, some of my reels, I'd say half and half, are like you said, Vicky, is just I've gone onto Canva, I've put in Instagram reels, I've downloaded a template, adjusted it to my branding and what I want to say, and then yeah, so I didn't even have to show my face, or because you are going to have days where you just feel really rubbish, you don't want to be visible, you don't want to show up online. So, you know, I mean, sometimes I have weeks and weeks where I've just got no creative flow whatsoever. So a good way of doing that is like batch content as well. So batch content, a lot of reels and save them, or batch content, a lot of posts and things like that, and just save them all in a folder, or save them in Canva. You know, Canva's got folders that you can save them into. So when you are feeling a bit rubbish or you haven't got time, you know that you can just pull them bits out, and I would repurpose content as well. You know, no one is going to see the same post over and over again. It's a pretty slim chance that that same person is going to see all your posts. So just repurpose content that is done really well. Yeah,
exactly, because everyone that is on social media will take in so many posts throughout the day. So even if they have seen something previously, you know, they're going to have had to really in-depthly read it for them to remember that I'm sure they posted that 2 weeks ago. Like, it's not going to happen. So yeah, repurposing good content is a good tool. Does anyone else have any questions? No. Okay. We thought we would have loads of questions, Jane.
We're like, right, we better keep it short because we're going to have loads of questions. Well, again, if you don't want to ask a question in the group, then myself and Vicky, you know, if you just want to email us or whatever, we're happy to answer questions that way as well. But quickly before we move on and finish for today, I have got a special bonus offer for you. So it's the digital planner that I was talking about before. I've created a digital planner which includes your content. It includes content pillars. It includes awareness days. So throughout the year, there's obviously awareness days that you've heard of. So it includes all that. It includes a couple of videos that I've done on how to get more engagement. And there's another video on there as well. I think goals is another one. I expand more on goals. There's also like a planner out there where I help you to plan out each social media post. So there's lots in there. So what I'm going to do is send this to Paula. I think I'll send that to Paula so she can send to you. So literally it's just, I'll give you an offer code. It's £11. It's on the moment at £27, but I'm going to put that up to 40 because I just keep adding stuff in. So it is a really good digital planner to kind of get you started and help with that time management, that consistency as well. So I will send that to Paula, and then obviously she's got all your email addresses that she can send on to you. So but yeah, it's been nice to see you all, and I hope it was helpful. As I said, me and Vicky are gonna, if you've got any questions, just email us. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, if everyone's in, is everybody in the Facebook group? Are you all in the Facebook group? Yeah, so even if we come off this call and you're like, oh my goodness, I've just remembered this question, just pop them in the Facebook group and Justine or I can answer them there, or you can email us, just whatever is easiest. And we're always happy to help. Fab. Right, well, I think we will finish there then. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
Thanks.